Guys having a great day so far. I'm here in Clarksville, Tennessee, about an hour outside of Nashville. Just got back yesterday from the Bitcoin conference, one of the best I've ever been to, an historic conference where ex-President Trump spoke about a lot of things that he was going to do if he were to be elected this election. So it was a great event. As I always tell you guys is that a lot of times you got to get into the room. Some of the best moments in my life have been going to conferences, meeting new people, discovering new ideas, and finding out ways to make money. And I always tell you guys, it's one of the biggest hacks you could possibly do is just show up. I met a young lady that I actually coached, and now she has a thriving, multiple, well into the six-figure business, where she she goes to conferences. She built an advertising company on top of that. And I've been saying this for years. Is one of the biggest opportunities in crypto right now is not even in investing. It's about building businesses based on crypto because the competition is still low. It's an immature industry, and the premium prices on services and products are very, very, very high. So what we want to get into tonight is we're going to do Bitcoin 2024 recap. Talk a little about Trump's comments on Gary Winsler, the head of this SEC. Then we're going to talk about crypto. Is it becoming partisan? Then we're going to talk about Ethereum ETF. A lot of people are saying that there was a low interest on the initial Ethereum ETFs. Then we're going to talk about Solana possibly passing $1,000 this cycle. Then we're going to talk about this Bitcoin bull run, some positions that you can make, some great plays that you can make, a lot of ways to make a lot of money. I'm outside right now, Tennessee, so if it's wind or there's some noise or some dogs barking in the background, I can't help that. But I didn't want to miss Strategy Sunday tonight. So what first I want to do is I want to go over some comments that Trump made at the conference. Now, before we get into this, I got to say it again because people are very political now. They're very, people are divided, Republicans versus Democrats. We got a lot of that going on in this country. So I don't want to be partisan here. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not on either side of the other. I do what's right, what I consider to be right? But a lot of people take my comments as that, oh, you must be for Trump because you said this, or you must be for Harris because you said that she said something positive. I'm an investor. I don't look at all that stuff. I look at what's the best way, and this is my job. This is one of my jobs. Part of my job is to deliver information to you guys. The other one is to make the most possible money for my clients, for myself, and my business partners. So those are my jobs, right? I'm not a politician. So I have to be able to see, and I teach you guys to do the same thing, see a situation for what it is and try to predict what's coming next so that you can profit off of that prediction. Now, all that emotions and all that stuff and identity politics and tribalism, that gets in the way of that. That's why I stay away from that stuff. Because that clouds your thoughts. And then you can't see what's coming next because your emotions are so closely attached to the outcome that you can't even see if anything is outside of that. So that's the reason why I try to stay out of this stuff. But I have to tell you guys what's going on because it directly impacts the market. And it could be a way for somebody that makes a lot of money. So I can't leave this stuff out. So we're going to go over some of the comments Trump said at the Bitcoin conference yesterday. So he actually showed up like an hour late, but let's go over those real fast.
We want to bring common sense back in. This is all common sense that we're talking about today, and Bitcoin and crypto will skyrocket like never before, even beyond your expectations, and you are the people that are doing it. As we stop the war on crypto, we will immediately, and we'll do this very quickly, begin to build our economy because when America is prospering, Bitcoin is soaring and it'll go up with it. I have set the ambitious goal that by the end of my term, the United States will be the #1 lowest cost of energy and electricity of any nation on earth. We can make it so inexpensively.
Yeah, I want to touch on that a little bit. Is that two things he said is that he wants to make America basically great with Bitcoin again. Now, Bitcoin is a worldwide asset, and it's based in game theory. So it's a lot of truth. And I've been talking to you guys about this for years, right? Is that we're actually seeing some of this stuff this geopolitical stuff as it comes to Bitcoin start to come into fruition. And I told you guys for the last 6 years that Bitcoin can't be stopped. It cannot be controlled. It's like a virus. It will take over everything no matter what. No government can stop it. No person on earth can stop Bitcoin from going to where it's going to go. So now that we're moving into the out of the early maturity of Bitcoin into the mid stages, that's when we're going to see these games start to take place. And what I mean by games, now we ain't talking about monopoly. We're talking about how people have to act and react in order to gain control, resources, or whatever it may be at stake. Now, Bitcoin can't be stopped, right? Bitcoin can't be controlled. So the only thing that can happen at this point is governments have to, the governments who realize this the fastest are the ones who win. And that's just not Bitcoin. That's all of crypto, right? The people who realize, well, I mean, we can't beat this thing. So we're going to have to try to control it as much as possible. So that was all built into Bitcoin. That's why I always say I don't believe it's one person that created it, because it's a lot of things. You have to know politics, economics, all of these things in order to be able to create something so profound. So this was all built, this is all done by design, that people would have to compete over a limited amount of Bitcoin. And now what would that do? That's going to drive the price even higher. For the people like us, the early adopters who got in very early, we're going to be the ones who make all the money at the end of this thing. Now, when the late people come in, the people at your job in the 401k, buying Walmart stocks, being safe and dividends and all that stuff, at the end of this thing, they're going to realize they were in an old game. This is a new game. Things have changed dramatically. People like Dave Ramsey, who hates Bitcoin, they're going to see that their thinking was wrong. And they're going to realize that they made a huge mistake. So let's go. Let's listen to some more of these
comments. We
comments.
want to bring common sense back in. Bitcoin, we'll turn it into Bitcoin. It's been taken away from you because that's where we're going now. That's where this country is going. It's a fascist regime. And so as I take steps to transform that vast wealth into a permanent national asset to benefit all Americans, today I repeat my pledge to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
Now you hear this when he talks about Ross Ulbricht. Ross Ulbricht was a guy he was the leader of Silk Road. Silk Road was an illicit marketplace back in the early 2010, 11, 12. That's one of the first really use cases of Bitcoin was in illicit activity, drugs. I mean, it was rumors that it was murder for hire and all this bad stuff, counterfeit goods. Bitcoin was used in that early on, gambling. But it made the case that Bitcoin was actually valuable. To be honest, a lot of things that we use in our everyday life was built in the crime world, and it just came over to our world, right? A lot of culture that we think is just normal came from hip hop, and hip hop culture was built on the drug and crack cocaine culture of the 80s and 90s because certain communities were forced into that. So a lot of things we think is just regular stuff now actually came from crime. Right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Certain I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but certain communities do have to do certain things to survive. So what he's saying now is he wants to commute his sentence. This dude got 25 years for running an eBay. It was basically a dark web eBay where people would sell drugs. Now, most of the stuff they sold wasn't even illegal. They were selling T-shirts, Bitcoin paraphernalia, shirts and hats. Most of that was there, but it was some cocaine and drugs and ecstasy and all this stuff that was being sold on there. So they gave him, because remember, this was 2013, 14. They were trying to stop Bitcoin. Up until today, they're still trying to stop crypto. They're just now realizing that they can't stop. And this is something I told you guys 5 years ago. You can't stop it, right? So they were going to put him in jail. That's how the government works, right? If you remember back with MP3 streaming back in the early 2000s, you know how they got us all to stop doing that? They found a few people, put them in jail for 10 years or gave them ridiculous $1 million fines, publicizing. Everybody was so scared to download music that they just stopped. And that's how they've dealt with us for the last 40 years. They scared the hell out of us. So they figured if we get Ross and we put him in jail 25 years, make it public, everybody will stop messing with Bitcoin. It didn't work. So now this dude is in there for 25 years for something he should have got 5 years for. So Trump says he's going to pardon him as soon as he gets in there. Now that's a big move ahead for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin because it's slowly or fastly now becoming more and more legitimate. Now, I'm no stranger. You guys are no stranger to my stories. 2017, Bank of America banned me for 5 years. It was for life, but they reduced it to 5 years because I dealt with Bitcoin. 2 other banks just wouldn't even do business with me because it fell under criminal activity. All I was doing was receiving Bitcoin and turning it to cash. That's it. It was no criminal nothing because the banks, the elite, the rich, and the government were in an active fight to stop Bitcoin. And it didn't work. So now they're coming over. This should be a positive sign that big things are on the horizon.
It's enough. It's enough. That's where we are as a country. Ultimately, my promise to each and every one of you is this: I will be the pro-innovation and pro-Bitcoin president that America needs and our citizens deserve.
In the Senate of the United States, to establish a Bitcoin strategic.
Yeah, I don't want to watch this one, but that's another senator talking about it. So we've had it was like 4 senators there. There was Kamala Harris was supposed to come, but I guess it was last minute. We had Robert Kennedy there and we had Trump there. Half the people on the stage was politicians. That tells you something happening. Something's really big going to happen in the next year. But let's talk about some other stuff, right? We talked about we can go on. I want to talk about some other things tonight. I don't want to just dwell on that the whole night. Let me see. So let's talk a little bit about the XRP. First, I want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin.
We want to bring common sense back in. This is all common.
We want to talk a little bit about Trump's. He also committed that he was going to do commit to a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, you guys like my new graphics? It's kind of cool, right? So now Trump and also Robert Kennedy also committed to this. Is that what they're going to do is they're going to, just like we have a strategic oil reserve, we have other commodities, we have food reserves in case something happens. We're going to start a Bitcoin strategic reserve just in case something happens. Now, Bitcoin was an illicit currency. Crypto was now you see what's happening. It's happening right in front of your eyes. And I've been telling you that this is your last chance. The mainstream is right at the cusp of understanding this. Once the understanding is there, your advantage is gone. Because we're working within right now, we're working right now on the information in unbalanced, right? We have the information they don't. And that's what we're making all our money on in crypto, stocks, tech, and AI, and all this other stuff. But once that balance is over, you lose your advantage. That's a market inefficiency. Market inefficiency is closed. That's why I tell you cannot waste this year. You cannot waste it. This is the last year of your life you'll be able to change it this easily. And if you don't, for your entire life, you will regret not doing this. All the way to your deathbed. So let's talk a little bit about the XC. So another thing that Trump said is that he's going to fire the CEO, the head of the SEC as soon as he gets in office. Now, that's also good for XRP because the SEC has been killing XRP, for the last 4 years. They've been killing them, man. So hopefully, if Harris gets in, you got to remember, I'm not saying that Trump has to get in for all this stuff to happen, because we're at a point with cryptocurrency now is that both parties they're forced to do this. They have to. They have to do it. It's not up to them anymore. They either do it or fall behind. So even if Harris and the Democrats get, they're going to change their positions. So regardless of what the outcome of this election, it's still positive for crypto, because I think the SEC is going to do a 180 after this. And I think XRP will have those artificial limits removed. And that's when we're going to see the rapid growth in the XRP from where it is now, 40, 50, 60 cents, to where it should be $20+. And I'm still very bullish about that, because XRP, every possible fundamental, technical, all these analyses, it should be way up, but it's not, because there's an artificial barrier on top of it. As soon as that's lifted off, it's like a spring, it's going to explode upwards. And hopefully, when the SEC has to go through this overhaul, that's going to happen. So another thing out there that I hope doesn't happen is that when I was at the Bitcoin conference, one thing that I saw, and maybe some dogs in the background, but I'll try to remove it later. One thing I saw, and I'm kind of scared, is that I hope crypto doesn't become a partisan issue. I hope that people can see it for what it is. I hope that people don't start saying, well, Republicans like it, so I'm not going to like it, or Democrats like it, and I'm not going to like it, because that slows down progress. and it can slow it down significantly. So we don't want it to be partisan. We want it to be nonpartisan. We don't want to boo people who are on the other side of the aisle. That's crazy, because if crypto is going to go where it's supposed to go, it has to be a bipartisan issue. And if the United States is going to be a leader in crypto, it has to be bipartisan. If we're fighting in El Salvador and China and all them and not fighting, the United States will lose off, and all of us by proxy are going to lose. So it's very serious. Bitcoin is not a joke anymore. It's not something we just joke around with, play. Though it's not. It's getting very serious. It's getting serious for your personal wealth, for your community's wealth, and also the country's wealth and well-being. This is not a game no more. Oh, just like a little Bitcoin. Let's just go dance bachata. It's not like that no more. It's very serious. And I'm reiterating to you guys every night, because this is no longer a joke. If you sit around wasting time, you will regret it again for the rest of your life. This is your chance to do whatever you want to do and be whoever you want to be over these next 12 months. You lock in, you invest efficiently, and you get educated. You can do it. You have a year, maybe 2 years, but you'll still have chances. But this is the biggest chance you ever have in your life. So last thing is not last thing, but the Ethereum ETF was released last week. And you guys know I believe Ethereum will be the #1 crypto in the world. I don't know when, 5, 10 years, maybe 2 years. I can't tell you when. But I think it will eventually be the #1 crypto in the world. Bitcoin to be 2, XRP 3, or Solana 4, whatever. But that was when I got several emails and messages from you guys, maybe about 50, 60. With articles, links to articles saying, oh, it was disappointing, the Ethereum release, and a lot of people didn't buy it, and we're disappointed in what happened, and it may fail. How many y'all don't remember what happened? You don't remember? You don't remember what happened in January? You don't remember in January what happened? Let me see this. Give me a second. In January, they told you guys the same thing about the Bitcoin ETF, that it was, oh yeah, it didn't work out. You know what? This is all a game. Even Trump in 2017 and 18 said that Bitcoin was a scam. Every major CEO told you that. They're getting you off the trail so that they can control it. That's all this is. Is that they don't want you to know that it's this thing. They need time to navigate, and what they can't, because this Bitcoin was one of the first things, I guess, in history where Bitcoin, really crypto in general, was one of the first things in history where almost everybody had equal access to the information at onset. Like poor, rich, whatever, everybody had access to it, because it wasn't gate kept. The dude just put it out there. So everybody had access to it. So some people who were very poor got rich. Some people who were rich got rich, even richer. Some people in the middle class got rich. Some people like me who was lower middle class, I got rich. You see what I'm saying? So some of these richer people, their whole lives, they've always paid for access to information before you. That's how they were able to be successful. That bankers would call them, or JP Morgan to give them an inside track on something, or they would meet somebody at the country club and they tell them an inside track on another thing. See, that's how they operate. Bitcoin took them all by surprise, so they had to figure out a way to control it, and they had to get you off of the trail. So that's why all the scams and the government blocking all this stuff over the last 5, 10 years was to keep you off of it so that they can control it. And it's not over yet. That's why I'm telling you, you have a year, 2 years left, and then they will completely control it. And you will be left on then you can get it through the ETFs or through your 401k at an 8-9% return every year. But it's not going to be like this anymore. And this is your last chance. So the second to last thing I want to talk about, Solana to $1. I'm sorry, to 1K, $1,000. I'm sorry. Solana actually jumped up a lot last week. There's been a ridiculous amount of Solana meme coins that have been on the market. Let me see. And before we go in there, I want to talk a little bit about ENS token, right? Because we just talked about Ethereum, and I want to go back and talk about that because I'll try to put it back. So, like I said, Ethereum ETFs launched to a relatively weak market, lower than expected returns. Despite the slow start, analysts do believe that there's going to be significant growth in Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to be the number one token or coin in the world by market cap. And the opportunity for ENS, which is Ethereum Name Server, as a form of leverage on top of that prediction is still there. ENS is going to do extraordinarily well into the future. People who came to the event in January of this year in New York, I called an ENS when it was like $7. Right now it's what? Let me see where ENS is at. Right now, ENS is $26, up about 4 or 5 times from there. And it's going to continue to grow because Vitalik, the creator or founder of Ethereum, said in order for Ethereum to get to where it's going to go, they have to use ENS. And ENS is a lower market cap, a lower volume, a lower priced asset that is a direct relation in success to Ethereum, and it will go up at a higher rate. So if Ethereum does well, ENS has to do extremely well. So that's the reason why I'm continuing to buy ENS. And I think that it's going to continue to enhance the Ethereum ecosystem. It's going to simplify user interactions with decentralized domains, increasing accessibility and adoption. Long term, I think Ethereum's broader use cases in development, it will cause it, like I said, to lead Bitcoin. And as the ecosystem matures and regulatory clarity improves, we're going to see Ethereum slowly take that first place over Bitcoin over the next 5, 10. It could be lower, it could be more. I don't know, but eventually I strongly believe it's going to happen. So back to Solana, right? Solana's price recently surged past 187. I had a short-term prediction of Solana passing 200. We're close there now. It has been driven by increased investor interest and significant short liquidations. The thing about crypto, and this is why I like about crypto, is that crypto is heavily shorted because a lot of people short based on emotions. They hate something so bad that they just short it, then they get burned in the short, and then it actually causes short squeezes. And that's what's going to happen with crypto all the way up because there's a lot of people in the world who hate crypto with all their heart. They hate it so much they can't even see past it. So it's an over amount of shorts against cryptocurrency in general, and those are all going to get liquidated soon, right? And there's a lot of positive market sentiment for Solana. The bad thing about Solana is that a lot of the meme coins that was dropped in June failed. I think 92% failed. And I'm not a big fan of meme coins anyway, so it doesn't bother me. I think meme coins I think 99% of them are probably scams. That doesn't mean they all are. There is some opportunities there. That's why you can't just discount a whole industry or a whole category. But I think 99% are probably scams. I would try. I like utility. I like use case. Some meme coins, maybe. I like Floki because they do have a strong community. They're doing education initiatives. There's more utility in that token. But I don't really like a lot of meme coins a lot, right? So last thing I want to talk about is that this Bitcoin bull run is forming, right? Is that I still get a lot of messages from you guys asking me, what's happened? I thought you said after the halving it was going to blow up. But you got to remember, man, is that 4 to 6 months after the halving, we see the beginnings of a bull run. We've already seen that in Bitcoin so far. We're close. We're right next to all-time highs, right? If you go back to May of 2020, Bitcoin was at about 8,000 at the halving. It took about 8 months for it to start going up. Now, we're going to start seeing, I strongly believe around August next month, we're going to start seeing the inklings or the beginnings of a Bitcoin bull run starting to take place. And that's really what where I had it planned out. Like I said, I thought we would be a Bitcoin in general, not just crypto market, but Bitcoin. I use Bitcoin a lot as like the barometer of the market because it is the biggest one by market size, and it also is by market dominance. Bitcoin is always over 50% most of the time. So of the entire market cap of the entire market. So Bitcoin is a barometer. It kind of tells you where things are going, where it's at. It pulls the market up and it pushes the market down. So I use Bitcoin and crypto almost interchangeably sometimes. So I apologize about that. But Bitcoin, the halving was about 3 months ago. So we still got a month or two before this late August, when that Bitcoin bull run starts. So I would just hang tight, be patient. I think you should prepare for a little bit of volatility. We don't know what's going to happen up until then, But I know when this bull cycle does start, it's going to happen fast. It's going to happen rapidly. A lot of stuff's going to be going on. And if you're not ready, you're going to miss it. So, uh, so with that being said, uh, I don't have a lot of time. I just want to make sure I got you guys caught up on everything that was happening. Uh, but the CNC is back open. I'm sorry, the CNC is closed until next week. The CNC will be back open next week if you guys want to join in. But right now we're doing some maintenance. But you can join, but you just won't be allowed to get into next week. I'm sorry. It's down there right now. CNC is our trading group, a 5-star community that provides education, signals, accountability, classes, live events. We do a lot of great stuff in the CNC. So if you're interested, click the link in the bio. Sign up today. And like I said, I hope you guys have a great night. I appreciate you. I'll try to get on tomorrow night also. When you watch this, I'll probably be on a plane. So I had to film it early. So I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you. And I appreciate you.